All right, so what we'll do today is kind of like a review. We can touch on this today. I can't make up my mind. I want to keep this on or take it off. So let me think here. Because we did place, we did heal, we did recall. Okay. Have you been able to work with them on the recall stuff?
Yeah, I do it at the park a little bit. He's pretty good.
Okay.
So I have to like turn it up because we were in an enclosed like kids playground.
Sure.
And he took off, and I told him to come, and he did come back, which was good. So there was a dog on the other side of the fence.
Okay.
So he did it with a distraction because usually we're not in like a high distraction spot.
Right.
Just because I'm paranoid.
Do you know what your number was?
I want to say I was at like 30. I turned it up because we were like what was happening. So.
Sure. So you
usually he's around like 18, 20, and then if there's distractions, I'll bump it up to 30.
Gotcha. And then once you had to bump it up and he came back, like was it like a couple taps or a tap? Quite a few?
It was pretty much like one or two.
Okay.
Yeah, he did good.
All right, so he sees the dog behind the fence, he runs, you call him, Leroy, 30, and a couple taps right back.
Yep.
Did you try going back to the fence at all?
No, because I think at that point I grabbed him. I was like, we're not going over there.
Okay. So, taking advantage of stuff like, well, I mean, I think you can, because it said it was an enclosed area, right?
Yeah.
Because even if you went back, we're not worried about interaction really, or, you know, the other dog, whatever, getting taken by surprise.
Right.
Is everybody goes to physical control. Like I said, everybody's first instinct, grab the leash, grab the dog, whatever. And I always use those opportunities to test as much as possible. Like, okay, cool, you came back, that's great. But what if I don't give you any other direction?
Right.
It's supposed to stay with you. So like when we did that sidestep exercise, the reason for that is so that he's less inclined to actually take off.
It didn't seem like he wanted to go back.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at him, I was like, I kept telling him to like look at me.
Okay.
And he did, and he didn't go anywhere. And then I just grabbed him, so I was like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, why?
But he was fine. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like not supposed to be in there, so I didn't want him like barking and you know.
I have to cut this out.
Right.
Dog in the kids' playground. Yeah.
We don't need to draw attention to ourselves.
Looking for this dog.
Yeah.
So, is there anywhere else that's enclosed that's by you?
In my backyard, but that's pretty small.
Yeah.
I tried walking around to find some today, and they were all pretty like same deal. They're all like sandwiched between houses that you're not really supposed to be in. So
Yeah.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, you'd have to go more towards the lake.
I'm gonna take them eventually. I have to go back to the suburbs, so I won't be so like paranoid.
Sure.
There's no fences and he can run, but I'm gonna see how far I'll go. Yeah, and I'll just like put a little leash on him or something.
Sure. And then just always remember that you know your training's only as good as the environment you practice in.
Yeah.
Right. So at some point you're going to be in a more distracting environment, like with you dog park still? Can't remember.
Not really.
No.
It's paranoid. Even though he doesn't do anything, but I just don't want anything to happen.
Sure. Okay. I'm not a big fan of dog parks myself, just because it's like.
It's the other people that
Yeah,
I'm worried about.
like people don't pay attention, or they bring dogs that shouldn't be there.
Right.
I had a client's dog get attacked at a dog park. The person grabbed the dog and left.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the hell does that?
Right.
You know, so
yeah. And he's been attacked before, so after that, like, I would find like smaller parks, or like if it's like there's not a lot in there, I'll go in.
Sure.
But I mean, the last time I went, the dog kept growling at the guy. Like, he was a goofy guy, and I was like, you're fucking weird. You're weird. Your dog's weird. Got a bad feeling, so we left.
Sure. All right. So, you know, you are aware of the environments Leroy will be in.
Right.
So just think like if like the most complicated situation would be like he'd be playing with like two other dogs or friends' dogs, then that's where you'd want to be practicing. Because at most that's what you would need.
Yeah.
Speaking.
Well, we're going to my boyfriend's house this weekend, and his dog and his parents' dogs will be there. And he was like, "You should bring them." And I was like, "It's more like the having to drive back if it doesn't work out." So I'm like, "But I guess I could do that on Friday."
Sure.
I could test that on Friday.
So like, let's say it doesn't work out. Like, what do you like? Is it kind of, there was resource guarding? I think initially when your boyfriend's dog came over, correct?
Yeah.
So are you?
He does fine outside. I think just because I've seen the behavior, it makes me nervous.
Sure.
But usually, anytime we've been at the park, it's been fine. So.
Okay.
I just think like if something did go down, he would fight, and I'm not trying to like take him to the back and stuff.
Sure. If you did see some tension, okay, how would you, with knowing what you have now, how do you think you could address it?
Tap him to come over, or like come recall.
You could do that if he's like let's say they're in the yard and you see a dicey situation, you could do that, right? Just know the difference. I don't care what you do. It's just knowing what each thing addresses.
Right.
Because I had this happen with a client where her dog went after another dog, like after a treat, and she tapped her dog, stopped the aggressive behavior, but then called her dog afterwards. And I told her that she addressed the situation, she had attention, but that she didn't actually teach her dog not to do that behavior. She just called her dog out. Because dogs, their mindset is literally one topic to another. So like, let's say he was guarding something and then you called him, he'd come over and it's like he was never guarding anything.
Right.
You see that?
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, that's fine because you stopped the situation, but your dog didn't learn not to do that. Okay. So like, let's say you saw some tension and you see maybe his hackles go up. If you tap him and don't say anything and his hackles goes down and he just continues to wander around, you essentially taught him like not to get, exactly, to relax, to not get tense. If you called him, not necessarily wrong because you could be preventing something, but he's not learning to exist within that situation. So should it happen again, you're most likely going to see him go back to attention. Okay. So I don't ever think of it as right or wrong. I just think of it as like what's going to be best for the situation, and to make the owner aware, because a lot of people will complain like, I keep calling my dog and they keep going back and starting shit. I'm like, yeah, you keep calling your dog, you're not telling them or teaching them to not start shit.
Right.
Okay?
I don't think he's like necessarily aggressive. I just think that like if the chance arose, like
yeah, if something popped
he's
up,
gonna go for it. So I'd rather just avoid that. But it's also like ideal for him. So.
right. And then I don't. If I have e-collar, I don't try to pull dogs out of it. I use the collar to make the dog come out. Yeah. I actually had that happen to a client here. Her dog, another dog went up to the tennis ball, and they sparked a fight.
Yeah.
She had to 127 continuous, and her dog 180 right out of the fight. And then she was like, "Was that right?" I'm like, "Well, if you go on yourself, potentially you could get bit.
Right.
Not because they're being aggressive to you, but because it's just so much emotion. They're not paying attention, and it's very common. It happens a lot. So then, if I have the e-collar, I'll, as best I can, always jump to that.
Without saying anything, or just.
I mean, you could say something.
Yeah. Just
but when you hit them that hard, almost always the dog will run to the owner, or they'll try to run out of the situation. If you're in the yard, we're not worried about that.
Right.
Once we've covered recall, in most cases the dog should 180 back to the owner.
Okay.
You know. Now, I personally don't separate dogs after an incident like that. I keep them at least in the vicinity of each other.
Yeah.
Because if you removed him, the last thing he's gonna remember is we got in a fight.
Yeah.
And then when you bring him back, it can just trigger right back to that fight again. So I stop the fight. I make the dog stop the fight, and I leave them coexisting for another 15 to 30 minutes. Then we'd want to separate, if possible.
Okay.
Otherwise, super common. That's what's going to happen. And then it's
He wanted to see George after it happened. Like, he was crying to go out on the deck. So I don't think he would have kept fighting. I think.
Yeah, because the moment was over.
Right.
Just kind of FYI, if you see something, that's how I try to handle it. If you can.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you can't, it is what it is. It's not to say that it will happen. It's just a possibility. All right. So let me see here. We did the runaway recalls last time, right? We're all like trying to run. Quote unquote runaway recalls. So what I'm going to do here is we'll review the stable quick. Give you something to blend in with your other commands whenever you have the time, and you can keep it short leash for now. Okay. So I'll coach you through it. Very simple. The heel position. So if you put Leroy in the heel, if you come to a stop, you should do it. And what command is he in? Yes, a little trick question there. Yeah, it's a heel command, sits built into it. Okay, so if you were to move again, his inclination is most likely going to be to follow. Okay, so to help teach him the differentiation between stay and heel, I do it from the hitting position. So you're going to pop the running heel, you're going to turn around, you're going to come to a stop. He's going to be on your left. I can auto sit. You're going to wait a moment, take your left hand, just wave it over his face, stay. You're going to pivot out with your right leg like this. So one quick step to face Leroy. So if he's here, you take your right leg, should be right in front of him. Okay? Then you're going to step back, praise, and you're going to go back into the heel. We're going to repeat that a few times, and we're going to try to progress this so I can get you to the long leash by the end of class. So you can have something to actively practice. Now, when you're going into that position, if Leroy does get up, you want to pull up and back away from you and tap him so he puts that butt back down, and then continue with your movement. Okay, trying to prevent him from coming back to you. Okay, because for the past few weeks, other than because we did plays, right? Other than that command, everything is meant to come to you. So when you start to step away from him, he's going to think to follow. That if you tap him and he manages to get to you, it kills the concept. He's not going to get it. So you like where your handle is at is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So you would shorten it just so that when you step away, if he does get up, when you pull up, you can, for the most part, immediately stop him where he's going to be at. Okay? Questions? All right. So when you're ready. Tap, forward, tap. Good. Good. Good.
Wave it, right?
Yes, wave. So up, tap, 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 tap. Yeah, double check that. I was gonna say same thing. Okay, it's not on? And then real quick. Up there. Checking that screen. Because sometimes people, client will come and it was on, but it dies.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I was just checking that it wasn't. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's green. You're good. Tap, forward, tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Oh yeah, there's like goldfish and carrots there. Yeah, because there was like a little kids party here. So there's a little bit of distraction for you.
Perfect.
Tap, 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 tap. Can't eat that, buddy. It's got a carrot there. What's your number?
23.
Go ahead and bump it some more. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Going to where you at now?
5.
Oh, he's gonna put you to the test today. Tap, tap, tap. Got another carrot. Bump, tap, tap. Okay. What's your number now? Okay. Tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Check it again. It's paging?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, go ahead and walk towards me and come to a stop right there. And we're going to find his working number here. So go ahead and tap, 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 tap. So you can feel the twitch. It's not a strong one. You're at 29?
Yeah.
Let's go to 100. Let's try 33. Tap, tap. That's a little bit better. All right, let's try that again. Okay, heel.
Over heel.
Tap forward, tap, tap. It's a little better. Good. And then you'll slow down to a stop. Tap, tap. There you go. Good. Yep. Now here, up, tap. Good. Now go ahead and step back. Keep your hand right there. So before you step away, you did the. Did you say stay?
Was I supposed to?
Yeah, so
Oh,
stay.
okay. I thought it was.
No, you're fine. So hand wave with the stay,
Okay.
then the pivot out, and then already have your leash pre-shortened. So like right there, he followed. Now he didn't move too quick, so you're able to stop him. But you want to anticipate that he's probably going to try to follow you. Okay, let's try that 4 more times.
Over heel. Stay.
Good. Back to his side. Good. He's a pro. 3 more. Good. Tap, tap. Better. Go ahead and, there you go. Good. And do 2 more. Tap, tap, tap. Good. That's a better response. Good. Excellent. 1 more. Good.
Stay.
Excellent. And back to his side. Easy peasy. Now we're going to do same thing, except once you step out, you're going to do like a half circle around the front half of Leroy. And then you'll land in the front again, pivot back to his side, praise, and repeat.
Leroy heel.
Good. Good.
Stay.
Up tap. Good job. Tap. Tap. Good. And then step back. Good. Try again. Yep. Good. Gonna try it 4 more times. Good. Good. Now we're gonna make one change here. You're doing good with all the movements, but you're doing a small left into a big right. And you want to lead out with a big right.
Big right.
Yeah. Okay.
Leroy heel.
It's okay. There you go. Up tap. Good. Then just back up. Yep. And he thought about it. Good. 2 more. Good. One more. So not interested? Good. All right. We're gonna try a couple of the next. So same thing, but now you're gonna do a full circle.
Okay.
Now, when you start to approach behind Leroy, super common that dogs will get up to keep looking at the owner. If he does that, you up correct. But if you see Leroy kind of swivel on his butt like this, you can actually ignore that.
Okay.
Okay. Once you figure, it's kind of like a loophole because he's technically still sitting. But once he figures out that you're just walking around him, like that almost always goes away. Okay, so only if he actively gets up or breaks position would you actually correct them, okay?
Okay. Ready?
Good. Yeah, that's fine.
Stay.
Right. Up, tap. Good. Up, tap. Good. Up, tap. Uh-oh. You're killing them. Let's go down to 23. Good. And we're going to try that a few more times.
There we go.
Good. 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 3 more.
There we go. I think the leash would throw him off.
Does what?
The leash, because I was like, okay.
Oh, with moving the e-collar?
Stay. Like, because I would lift it over his head.
Up tap. Good. There you go. Up tap. Good. Try to complete another circle around here. Good. Just try a couple more.
Stay.
Good. Up tap. Try one more circle around here. So if he breaks position and you have to correct it, try to do at least one more full circle before coming back. Okay, one more. Heel.
There we go. Stay.
Good. And praise. That a boy. Good. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to switch to a long leash, and we're going to blend this with everything else. Okay, so once I've taught the stay, I like to use the recall, the heel, and the stay command with the long leash, and kind of use them all as like a big routine to practice if you ever have the space. So I'll give this to you.
So just get rid of the short one altogether?
Yeah, you can get rid of the short one. I would think. You want the end, or you think you're good?
Oh.
You're an expert now?
I don't know. I didn't know what we were doing.
So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna go into a recall, and then I'll coach you from there, okay?
Here I come.
Yep, good move. Tap, 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 tap. Pull, pull, pull. Tap, tap, tap. What you eating, buddy? Tap, tap, tap. There you go. Did you bump it?
I pulled.
So where you at now?
27.
27? Okay. So here, go ahead and do those side step movements. Tap. Good. Careful. Let them, and then tap for the auto sit. Good. And watch the leash behind you. Try moving back. 1, 2, that's good. Tap. Hold right there. Tap. There he goes. Good, and then try to your left. Good. Tap. Good. Now what you're going to do here is go in and grab your leash higher up and leave about like 3 to 4 feet of slack. That's good right there. And then you're going to give Leroy the stay. And you're going to step out with your left leg. So the leg away from him. Good. And now you're going to do, at that distance, a little walk around.
Off the circle.
Yep. Up tap. 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 Good. Right. Good. Tap. Good. Up tap. 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 Good. Good. Back to his side. Good. Go ahead and give him a praise. And we're going to give him a release.
Break.
Trust me, buddy.
Here I come.
Back tap, 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 tap. Good. What's your number now, by the way?
7.
Go to yeah. Oh wow. Just joking. No, 32 is good. Now some side steps. Tap. Better. Turn to face him. Backwards, tap. Oh, look, peeing on the clock. Back tap, tap, tap. Good, hold right there. Good. Try to the left. Tap, tap. Good. Try back. Tap. Good, hold right there. Tap. 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 Tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Go ahead and bump it. Tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Bump it. Oh, there he goes. Wow. It's taking his time. Tap. Tap. There you go. Wait a moment. Lightly pull up on your leash here. Tap. 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 Okay. Now you're gonna go into the stay. Good. Good. Praise. And then go ahead and bring Leroy over here. Let's do a little team huddle. All right. So how did you feel about that performance there?
Great.
What does it tell you about Leroy?
He needs a higher number.
Sure, and what else?
Distracted easily.
Distracted, what else?
No idea.
Didn't really care about what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, within the moment, it's learning to recognize like when you have to go up. So ideally, if I don't get a change by the first tap, by the third tap, or I'm sorry, if not by the first, by the third, then I bump it, right? Now I can tell when he was like picking at stuff at the ground, like I'm like, yeah, he's not caring at that, period.
Right.
So let's say you're at 25 and you see like not an ounce of worry, I feel pretty safe jumping to 35, possibly even 40.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just going there, right? Because you want to think like, let's say he's eating something toxic,
Right.
right? That you're not wanting to I know it's goldfish and carrots because I was here yesterday. So, not the kids' party, but after the kids' party. But, you know, if he was eating something toxic, you'd want him to spit that out immediately, right? So when you get the right number, like you're going to see him like get the hit and like, whoa, what do I need to do? Okay. And of course we're training right now. But even when you're training, think of that as your time to experiment with like going up higher, faster, getting comfortable with that. You know, like me personally, I don't look at the remote. Like I just look at the dog and the dog tells me what's too high, what's too low. And a lot of my clients towards the end are already like, they'll see the dog and they're just turning the dial and not even like thinking about what the number's gonna be, okay? Do you still feel bad about remoting him?
Only if he cries.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah. Ideally, we don't want the crying, right?
Yeah.
But if it's an emergency, it's probably gonna happen. You can't let that deter you, okay? So we're gonna try this again. But we are at what number now?
34.
34? We're gonna try 34.
Okay.
If we see him going to the ground again, I'd probably jump up like 43-ish. Okay. So I'll go and hold Leroy. Come here, bud. I'm getting you in trouble. Come here. I'm getting you in trouble. Come on. Where's the goldfish? Where's the goldfish?
Leroy, come.
Tap. Tap. That's better. Good. Excellent. Tap. Good. Tap. 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 Good. Tap. Better. Good. Now go ahead and pop them into a stay. Good. Now here, go into a heel. Tap, tap, forward, tap, forward, tap, forward. Right. Good job. Tap, tap, tap. He's going. There he goes. That's better. Good pivot. Watch your foot on the leash. Tap forward. Tap forward. There you go. Better. There he goes. Better. Forward. Tap. Go back to your left. Tap forward. You got it. Tap forward. Good. Tap forward. Tap forward. Keep going. Turn to your right. Good. Tap forward. You're good. Tap forward. Tap forward. There he is. What does he do now? Better. Good. Nice pivot. We're at 43. Oh my God. Go and turn to your left. Tap forward. Slow down to a stop. Tap. Tap. Good. Okay. So you're at 43. All right. So you're closer because he started to come in to the left leg. But you see how much space he was giving?
Yeah.
So that tells me, at least at the current level that you were at, could care less about the command. Okay. He was willing to stop to sniff something. He was like spacing out. As soon as they feel the tap, we want to see him moving in. Okay. Anytime he feels remote, regardless if it's a 30-foot leash or a 6-foot leash, his response should always to move into that left leg. So what we're doing here is taking those 3 commands, blending them together, but also giving you an idea of just like where Leroy's at in terms of, he's got a good concept of the command, because as soon as you hit 43, he did start to come in closer, okay, and it was giving you a better response. But in terms of like respecting the command,
Right.
no.
Failing.
Yes, okay, which is super important, especially with the reactivity stuff. Okay, so we're gonna do this a little bit more. I like that you're at 43. Let's go ahead and just pop him straight into the heel, and you can cut that leash in half because you want to give him slack to like make those mistakes,
Right.
but you know, make it a little bit easier on you, a little bit more.
Oh, more?
Yeah, more slack, more slack. That's good right there. That's about 15. Good.
Leroy heel?
Good. Nice pivot. Tap forward. Turn to your right. There he goes. Tap forward. Better. Tap forward. Tap. Tap. Keep forward. Tap. Good. There he is. Turn left. Good turn. Yep. Turn left again. And tap forward. Tap forward. Tap. 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 He's going. Watch out for that branch. There you go. You're good. Do a pivot here. Good. Turn to your right. Tap. Good. Keep straight. Good. Turn left. Good turn. Turn left again. Good. Keep forward. Tap forward. Turn to your right. Tap. There he goes. Turn inwards. Oh, there he goes. Good. Tap forward. Better. Tap forward. Go ahead and pivot. Good pivot. Tap forward. Tap. Tap. There he goes. Better. Go and turn towards me. Good turn. And slow to a stop. Better. Okay? Like he wasn't like glued to you, but he was responding better. Okay? So you see how much tapping it was taking though to get him to come in?
Yeah.
So that's where I go higher, right? So maybe 43 to 47 to, you know, I'd probably go jumps of 4. We did get a little yip there. How's your heart? Did it break?
A
A little bit. But you're still alive. That's good. So, but as soon, actually, after he did that little whimper, did you notice something?
He came right to me.
Yeah, he came right to you, and he was actually better during that time frame, right? But then he still kept deviating.
Right.
So don't let the if there is a yip or something, deter you. So if I hear yip, like my instinct is to go down. But sometimes, like the dog will yip and you can be at the same number and they'll still keep making the same mistake. And I've even had it where you keep going up, the dog keep yipping, and then finally they're like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Like they're willing to take the hit, even though it's uncomfortable, and they're vocalizing, but they're not correcting the issue. And this is, of course, like he's been doing this this is his 6th class, so like at least a month and a half. Right? So he's got a very good concept. It's just a matter of like not really wanting to focus to that level.
Yeah.
Okay? Questions so far?
Disrespectful.
Yes, he's disrespectful. He's a little teenager. All right, so let's go to release him. Break.
Break.
What we're going to do is a recall, and if you're going to recall, you're going to go into a heel again, okay? Here, bud. Yeah, boy.
Here I go.
Yep. So you're doing a recall into heel, but he's too far now. So turn to face him. Big step back tap. Better. Now you'll go into, so that he's on your left side. Yeah, good. And now you'll pop him straight into the heel. Tap. It's better. Tap forward, good. Tap, good job. Better. Go in and pivot. And then bump your number. Bump it. And tap, tap, tap. There he goes. Where are you at now?
50.
Oh, at 50. Oh my goodness. Tap forward. There, that's better. There he goes. Look at that spunk. Good. Now crossover or left turn. You got it. Good recovery. Good. Forward tap. Tap forward. Good. Better. Turn towards me. Tap forward. Tap. 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 Yep. You feed this dog? He's eating everything.
That's his favorite thing to do.
Good. Watch out in front. Good pivot. Tap. Good. Tap, tap. A little better. You're at 50?
49.
49? You lied to me.
It was, I swear it was that way.
Good. Pivot. Good pivot. Tap forward. And then slow to a stop. Good. How'd you feel about that performance?
Better.
A little better.
Yeah.
Okay.
A bit more respect.
Could it be better?
Yeah.
How?
Made it even higher.
Yeah, that's true. But from what he was doing right there, if you did bump it, what would you expect him to do?
Move in a little faster.
Yeah. And there was some parts where you tapped him and he actually, when I said earlier, I was like, oh, there's some spunk to a step there, because he actually perked up and started coming in closer. But then once whatever was on the ground got involved, he took all those hits, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, factor this in, right? So like, let's say when you're working with them, if there happens to be something on the ground, if you're at 25 and we were at 50 today, then I'm like, all right, well then I'm gonna go to 60 or whatever, right? So there's no point in trying to go slowly up to 50 because you've already done it before. Okay, so every time you're working with them, I like gather information. I go, what's the highest one today? You know.
Yeah, the highest I've been is like 33
Sure.
the entire time.
Yeah.
So
And
I
doing
think
the
that's
long.
probably why he like keeps doing it, but like again, if there's something, a distraction, then he's like forgetting it or figuring it out.
Sure.
to the
Yeah. So that's more rewarding. And dog logic isn't the same as human logic. Like dogs will take the hits, like even really harsh hits, to do what they want. Okay. And I tell you about the dog I used to Go in the garbage. So the dog with garbage pick, and they would hit or correct the dog on 127 continuous. Okay, and the dog kept going back in the garbage. And they're like, Jesse, like, what the hell? He's going back in the garbage, 127 continuous. He yips and when it runs away. 30 minutes later, back in the garbage. And I was like, all right, because since he's doing the behavior, it's worth the hit. Okay. So then what we did was 127 continuous, we're even looking at the garbage. Okay. So then the dog wanted nothing to do with it. He couldn't get near it.
Right.
He would avoid the garbage can at all costs because he couldn't even go to that first step.
Okay.
But for him, even just putting his nose in the garbage was worth 127 continuous. Okay, so again, dog logic is not the same as human logic, especially when it comes to instinctual stuff. So like my Chihuahua, when he's unneutered, he couldn't be around females because he tries to mount everybody. And I could be on 100, and I would tap him, and he would yip and run away. 2 minutes later, he'd be back and trying to help me because of his instincts are so strong.
Right.
Okay?
Damn Chihuahuas.
Yes. So, when working with Leroy, keeping that in mind, like I'm tapping you on 15, or whatever. Like, how is that? Because you're logical as a human, like you're like 15 is uncomfortable. But they're physical animals, they bite each other. That even though it can be uncomfortable at certain points, like if it's important, whatever it is, it's going to okay? We're going to do another recall. Okay. Ready, buddy? Putting your mom to a test. Good. And what are you at now?
49.
Let's go 54. Let's do side steps. Go back first. Tap. Okay. To your right. Tap. Tap. Good. And go ahead and pop them in the heel. Tap forward. Oh, look at that. That was a little bit better. Tap forward. Go ahead and left turn. Good turn. Keep forward, tap. Oh, it's better. But wrong side, turn inwards. So he's on your inward, so that he's on your inside. There you go. That's good. Yep, that's perfect. Good. Turn to your right. Tap, tap. Good. It's a bit better. Turn to your right again. Tap. Good. That's better. Tap forward. Tap forward. All good. Turn to your right. Tap forward. Then slow. And stop. All right. That was better. Okay. So, for the most part on single taps, did you see him speed up?
Yeah.
And then come in more to your side, right? So, better, but I could tell you his number is still a little bit higher. Because
It should be higher, you mean?
yeah, but I'm like helping to explain the differences for you.
Right.
I've been doing this 10 years. I know when to go up, but that was better. Because on single taps, he was giving you a lot more, whereas before you were doing a lot more to get a little response, okay? And I knew as soon as you called him and you did the side step that he needed a higher number. Because when you tapped him, he came to you, but it was like sluggish, right? And other dogs, the owner will tap them and they can just run into the owner, okay? And that speed is urgency, it's important. And that's what makes the obedience mean something, okay? So whenever you're working with him, be mindful of these things and go like, oh, like he's sniffing the ground when you're doing this, you shouldn't be sniffing the ground. And as we've gone up higher, we've actually stopped that behavior for the most part. Remember in the beginning, he kept nosing around for food.
Yeah.
He was even sniffing. He even stopped to take a little tinkle. Right? All those things tell me stuff. Because if I say something, that should be more important than anything that's going on within the moment. Whether he's playing with the dog, whether he's being reactive, or he's trying to eat something off the ground. If I say something, it should always be more important than anything else at that moment. Okay? And we achieve that simply through reinforcing the power. So like, and even on your short leash walks and stuff, you want to experiment, because let's say you're practicing 33 for your walks, but we know 33 is enough to just get him to mosey along. But then in these like more complicated scenarios, since you practice 33, you're not going to get like 54-ish obedience. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you practice more frequently. So everything has to be on the same page. So even when you walk with him, you want to think like, can this be better? And does it look like that one time when we were at 54? Like, that's why I gauge things. Once I see a certain level of performance, I go, okay, you can do this.
Right.
It's just a matter of is it important enough? Okay? And the long leash is nice because it allows Leroy more space to make mistakes.
Right.
And then you'll really see how well he understands that concept and how much he actually respects it. Okay? Questions about any of this? So what's your homework?
Go higher up.
Yes.
Don't let him disrespect me.
And this is the most common thing that I get. It's just the number, you know. So for you now, practicing going forward, when you have the space and the time, long leash, I wouldn't go to 54 right off the bat, but I would get there faster. Because you need consistency.
I mean, that's the first time the stops have been.
Did it get stuck? Was it giving resistance?
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's going on here?
Right, I was like, oh, we're like on the other side here. So yeah, I think I just need to go higher.
Yeah. So like, let's say for the next 2 weeks, you get to practice every day, okay? And then every day you'll find yourself going to these levels. Then that tells you who's most likely around that level, okay, as a resting rate. Because people tend to settle for like, oh, but the dog is better than what they were.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, but then you're gonna always have to be fiddling with that. And you're trying to get him to the point where he just does the stuff, and that's there in case there's an emergency. Okay?
Yeah, because like I'll try to do it even when he doesn't have his collar on. Just like if I have to take him out quick, like let's see, and he'll mean something to it. Like,
oh yeah, it would mean something even with the collar on.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like, all right, great.
Yeah.
He's better. Where like he'll walk next to me more without me having to like say anything even without the collar. But if he smells like there's Popeyes on the ground, he's close to it.
Yeah, I've been too. So yes, higher number. And then remember,